If you want to try, I don't like the arms this much. I love the ball heads after I started using those. And then I've got my smaller one that I carry around everywhere when I'm out hiking, camping, and all that. And I've got two of the monopods. This one my wife got for me. And it's got the walking stick that then unscrews and fits your camera. And of course it comes out. For me, it's a little small, the grip, especially if I'm my big lens on it. I don't like it in the horse shows and that when I'm out there all day. So I went and bought a heavier duty one, bigger one that goes even higher. This one stops about here. This one I get a lot more height out of. So then when I throw a big lens on it, you know, I have to get my toes unless I drop it down a little bit. But it works a lot better for me and it's a lot heavier. So if I put a 300 millimeter or 400 millimeter lens on it, I can stand in a horse show all day long like this and I'm not having to hold the lens the whole time. The other thing is if you shoot any sporting events, softball or anything where you're inside the fence, you're not allowed to have a tripod. Horse shows or any of that kind of stuff, they won't let you have a tripod in there. So monopods work great, which you can take. And the whole idea is if somebody fell, they could actually get hurt if they landed on that. On this, they're just going to knock you over. They won't get impaled by it. So that's my 30 seconds on mine, and I know other people have much more to say about them.
Do you have a ball head for your monopod?
I don't, and I've actually thought I should get one. But I tend to just move it around however I want. And most of the time for me, it's rodeo or horse shows. And so I just set it for the height, and I'm just aiming through it and shooting it, and I'll just tilt whatever I need to do to get the shot.
For the most part, the last thing you want on a monopod is a ball head anyway. Tilt head's all you want. You've got pivot all the time, automatically, lean it left, lean it right. Ball head's gonna make everything flexible and you can start dropping things and losing control and it gets real shaky. If you just go with a straight pivot, you don't have to worry about that. I got the same head on everything, so all my quick release plates are the same. I see Ward's got 3 different heads here, so quick release plates are kind of a pain that way. So all mine take the same plates, but on my monopod I just got a pivot head.
Okay.
So when I'm sitting here shooting something, I can be sitting or kneeling or standing, and if I'm looking up or down, I can just go up and down. It's gonna pivot with you, it's gonna rotate, everything goes with you, and then just lock it into position when you're where you want it. I've shot my 800 millimeter on this, and not have any problems with it at all. It works really good.
Do they have ones that can be both tripod and monopod, or is it pretty much
None that you'd want to buy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's a lot of cheapo, and when I say cheapo, I mean cheapo, tripods on the market, that you can unscrew one of the legs and use it for a monopod, but the more joints you put in something, the weaker it's going to be, the more movement you're going to have. And I've seen 3 of those tripods out there that have a removable leg, and not a one of them's worth a crap. There is one on the market, and I can't tell you the exact model right now. I think Yitzo makes it.
Yep.
Where you actually unscrew the bottom cap and pull your center column out, and your center column becomes a monopod. It's 1 1/8 in diameter. It's a lot more stable. It's a lot firmer. It's a lot better way to go. But it ruins your loaded, when you use that monopod, it ruins your low to the ground capability of that tripod, because the lowest it'll go then is like 38 inches from the ground.
Because it goes into itself.
Well, it doesn't shrink up, it's like this. It's not like a center column that you can move and remove.
They also have, Gitzo does have one that you take the bottom out and they got 3 legs that come out, but the only legs only come up like this, and it's like,
Yeah, but don't ever put your camera on it and let go.
Yeah.
Those legs ain't gonna hold nothing. There's, Curtis posted a message board about the 3021 Bogan. I love this tripod. I got 3 of them right here. The 3021 was made in 3 different incarnations, and this is all 3 models. And Manfrotto has changed the name now to the 055, and they make 3 different models of the 055, but they're basically the same tripod. They don't have a gear system on the center column. You take your center column right out. If you want to get really close to the ground,
Oh.
That's cool.
turn it over. You can flip your plate around, get your camera on here. You can actually get this system, your camera's the right side up. Open up your legs. And you can put your camera right on the ground and still have the tripod for stability.
That's cool.
It's also handy for access sometimes. And these legs, they come all the way out to 90 degrees. This is the newest version of the 3021. And the biggest thing that Manfrotto did with it is they took away the nice bogan mount where the legs clamp into the head here. These have just one little adjustment screw on the back or one clamping screw on the back to hold it together. And they got two little crimps in the tubes. The older, just what they call the 321 Pro, has got a clamp system that clamps the tube. The tubes are thicker. This tripod weighs 6 ounces less than this tripod without the head. Other than that, it's all exactly the same tripod. Same clamps, same height, everything's the same. This is what they called the Pro N. And this one has got the screw out rubber clip spikes. You got the spikes sticking out of the dirt, or if you're in some place that's going to scratch, screw down the rubber foot on it. But they're all the 3021, and they don't say anything different on them except for 3021, but they're totally different styles. The arm comes off, it's got a little Allen wrench on here. On the new one, this is so you can adjust the tension on your legs if you need to. The older original ones, that don't come off. That's attached. That inside your base, pull this out, you got a little Allen wrench in there. This stops your center column from coming out, so you got to take that off anyway to get your center column to come out. This one I've only got a one-piece center column on it, so if I need to get low to the ground, this is what I use to get low to the ground. These have the two-piece with the extension. I never use them. You can actually take this whole thing off if you want to and just mount a head right to it. But I just leave it in there because it gives me a nice vertical piece to pick up and move it around. There's 3-leg tripods like this are the most common. What you'll see most of the time is a 3-leg because they get shorter. They're easier to pack around. A lot of tripods are available in a 2-leg design. And the advantage these have, you only got one joint. That lets them be a little more stable. Plus, they're a lot quicker to set up and take down if you're in a rush. You only got 3 joints to deal with instead of 6.
You don't give the grizzly bear good of a chance.
And if you get in a hurry, and you really want to set up quick, these don't have any joints. Fully flexible. One arm moves it. Any direction you want to go, just release it, you're set. If you're in a situation where you got an odd setup, you got center clamps, you can just lock it and it stays right there.
Oh, that's sweet.
They don't come with a camo, you gotta spend some time to make that yourself. Some of these, this one has got extra legs. This one will go 9 foot tall. If you want to stretch it all the way out. So you can get really, if you're out in the boulders or something, you're trying to set up, you can stretch it out and just get all kinds of reach out of it. And all 3 legs, they come out at 85 degrees off of the head. But you get, the longer you go out, the less stable you get.
But the more you can hold the other photographer's back.
Well, the nice thing about it with a quick release head like this, this is a Wimberley style gimbal, but it's just got the same quick release head as all my others. I just grab this, throw it out of the back of the car, set it in place, let go, grab my camera and lens, snap it in place, I'm shooting 15 seconds flat. The guys out there, they got these tripods and they're opening up all 6 legs and getting them all stretched out and set up. And then they set their lens up there and then they grab their camera and hook their camera on it. And by that time, the bear's gone. There's a lot of ways you can go, and heads, Warren brought up the 3-way pan heads. Bogan has made 4 styles over the years, or when they were making them, before Banfrado bought them. This is the lightest weight one here. This is a 30-25. Don't worry about that, it's just a gasket. This is a 30-25, and they're all 3-way pan heads. You've got your pivot, you got your arc, and you got your pan, all with separate controls. This is the 30-28. The 30-28 is basically the same thing in a heavier duty version, but it's got arms on it. So if you're out in the field or something wearing gloves, it's easier to work with. Warren's got a 30-30 over here. This is the first one that has grips to twist. It's also the first one that takes the hex plate, quick release plates. These all have the old system where you screw it right to your camera. Then their heaviest one was the 30-47. And it's basically just like the 30-30, but this weighs more than most people's tripods. I actually had this head on that set of legs for about 20 years. And this has been just sitting in my closet ever since. The ball heads, like Warren says, are a lot easier to use, a lot quicker to use in the field. I didn't bring a camera in. But the ball heads, and this is one that I had many, many years ago, almost 30 years ago. It's called a 30-26. This was probably the ball head that revolutionized the industry because it was so smooth and quick operating. You had full axis. You go all the way down to the front, all the way up to the back, so you had a full 180-degree rotation with it. It also had a slot you could drop down 90 degrees to the right, so you could just turn right over to a portrait. Problem with them was this little tiny plate wasn't very stable for a big lens. So what Bogan did is they redesigned it to use the same plate system that their heavy-duty panheads did. That one was called a 30-55. And I think this, personally, I think this is the best ball head ever made for the money. You can pick these up right now on eBay for 35, 40 bucks. They're a wonderful head. I put up to a 500 millimeter f4 on this one and loved it. But the problem with a ball head, you get into a great big telephoto lens, it wants to fall sideways. You don't have that lens perfectly straight up. You can go to the biggest heads, the 30-38 is the biggest ball head Bogan ever made, bigger than anything they make today. It's only got one slot to go portrait from landscape. You've only got about 90 degrees rotation front to back with it. But this one's got tension adjustment on them, to where you can set the tension, and I put my 800 millimeter lens on this. And that's why I have the same plates on everything, so all my lenses, my telephotos, all have the same quick release plate. They're just a little hexagonal plate that mounts right into the bottom of your camera. A lot of people like what they call the Arca Swiss plate. Personally, I hate them. I have one here that I put on an adapter plate so I can put it on my system. That's how quick my system goes together. You just take your lock off and it's gone. That stays on your camera all the time. You want to put your lens on here with an Arca Swiss, you put it up here, you slide it in place, then you sit here and you turn this little crank in until it's solid. How long it takes to do it. I don't have that kind of time to waste. But I carry this because I have friends that go out shoot with me sometimes that have a lens that has an Arca Swiss. They want a bigger tripod. I give them this, they snap it in there, put their lens on it. Then they can use it. This I don't use anymore except just to play with. Because it's fun just to put a smaller lens on, turn it upside down, get down, shoot some flowers. Use the remote control so you don't have to touch it and the wind's out there blowing. So they're handy, and that's about the only time I ever use that. It's upside down, and she uses it for her Olympus. But any of this stuff can be adapted. This Wimberley, this has also got the Arca Swiss. That's the only way you can buy them. This plate right here is the same mounting plate as I've got on my monopod. It's an RC0 adapter from Bogan. And you just bolt it right up through the bottom. And you can convert anything you want. This is a different gimbal. This is a Desmond gimbal. And it's the same way. I've converted it to the same quick release plate. So everything I've got takes the same snap-in hex plate system. Saves a lot of hassle in the field. And it's just very, very convenient that way. And they're heavy duty.